sold my soul to the bottle. Still none of my friends have left me yet. I'm the same man I was since the age of 13, and I've lived my life with no regrets. If you're looking for some freedom, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum. If you're looking for rhyme or reason, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum.
Oh, we are live. 10 drink minimum. It's Sunday night. It's the last party of the weekend.
That's right.
Remember we used to say that shit all the time? Last party. Remember where did we do that from? Was that the
was that from Art Bar?
I want to say that, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
We would always do that. We're like, yeah, it's the last party of the weekend. We're back. Holly is actually down ill.
No.
So she is not here.
Poor Miss Holly.
And then we have someone back with this. Someone had a big weekend. And,
I did.
Yeah, let me switch. I switched the camera so that people can see what you look like. Oh, dang. Look at that.
Oh, who's that handsome fella?
Yeah.
They say like the first space monkey shot into space, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it's been a huge change. My head feels a lot colder these last few hours. I just got it earlier this afternoon.
Nice. Like I said before, it looks really good. I'm jealous.
Was it Supercuts? Come on.
Yeah, no, Style America. No, found a barbershop. Most barbershops are not open on Sundays.
No.
So I had to shop around. I found a place called Shaves and Fades on Manal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the guy that hooked me up, he was super nice. I had a good time with them. And so...
Shaves and Fades.
Shaves and Fades. I was glad that they were able to get me in today, and it's just like I was thinking about waiting until like later on this week. There's a couple suggestions people have given me as far as like places to go get it done at, but it's just like hair, man. If somebody fucks it up really bad, I'll just let it grow and get another one.
I'll give a shout out to my barber. His name's Gabe. He's over at Ace Barbershop over there off of 4th Street. But don't go there because it's busy all the time and I can't get in.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, it's weird. Like he actually put like there was a big month-long art thing going on, and he had these pieces of brown paper on his wall so kids could come in there and draw on there, and he put 10 drink minimum up there on the wall.
That's super cool. And where are they located?
4th between Central and Gold.
Well, now, thank you for the suggestion after I've already cut
Damn
my
it.
hair.
So, by the way.
When was the last time you cut your hair?
It's been well over like a year and a half, I'd say. And before that, I had been growing out the top for a good while, and I was like just cutting the sides. So it's been probably like 2 years since I've had like a proper
That's a long
haircut.
time for not having a haircut, you know?
Yeah.
But did you get get it cleaned up while or did you just grew it out?
No,
and
after a certain point, I was like, you know what? The shittier it looks, the more it fits the trash king.
Yeah, where your job wasn't like, Ray, we got to talk to you about your haircut.
No, they were actually really, accepting of the crazy hair. But once it started getting to the point where I couldn't put like enough product in it to like keep it contained, or it was just like crazy, I just started wearing a beanie, and they never really gave me a hard time about that. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I just wear a beanie almost all the time.
You're an imposing man. I'm sure they were like,
yeah.
You go tell him. No, you fucking go tell him, dude.
Well, and also they're probably just like, that what his hair, it looks much better hidden, so we're just gonna.
He's the champ, man. You can't tell champ what to
right,
wear,
yeah.
man. You can't do that. So, do we want to talk about what happens?
Sure. I didn't want to jump straight into it, but I'm perfectly.
We can talk about the sober January. We can do that.
Yeah.
So you were asking before the show, and I just kind of said, wait, about sober January. So I haven't had any alcohol this month. It's 12 days in, and the funny part is how shocked everybody gets. Like when I tell them, you guys aren't watching football. No, we're not. Sorry, but it's funny how like I've never noticed how many times I get invited out to do shit now, and it's like almost daily someone is like hitting me up this month. hey, I'm in town. You want to get a drink? Da 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 da. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'll come out, but I'm not drinking for the month of January. Why? What's wrong? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Why would I not be okay? Well, why are you not drinking? I'm like, because I want to take a month off.
Right.
Can I do that? I mean, it's weird how many times, people are like freak out about it.
Yeah, and there's like so many other like things that anybody could just want to take a break from, like not having sugar right now, or like whatever. It doesn't mean that it's gonna detrimentally like change your life. Like just cut it out for a little bit.
I'm not attacking everybody who's doing keto.
Yeah.
What's wrong with
we
it?
should.
What's your problem?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I actually tell people, I'm like, if you see me not drinking, that means something's wrong.
Well, okay. Well, that's
just me, though.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Like, that means I'm like morbidly depressed and I can't drink.
I'm so depressed I can't even drink.
Oh man, that's deep.
And I'm all Smiley. You smell like pills. What's wrong with you? Are you okay?
I'm just on a vitamin C and B12 regimen right now.
Right. Have you ever taken a big sabbatical from drinking, Smiley?
Yeah, actually, almost every year I take a month off.
See, Smiley does it. Why is it not weird when he does it?
Well, because I don't announce it.
That's right. Smiley doesn't have the social media presence to get attacked for his life choices.
I get invited out to a lot of shit, and I have to go. Then they'll go, "Well, why are you drinking a Topo Chico?" And I'm like, "Well, I want to see what it feels like." Weirdly, every weekend when I've gotten up on the mornings of the Saturday or Sunday, I still feel hungover. Like I got up this morning, and my allergies were so bad, I might as well have been hungover.
It's just like old age now. Chris.
Yeah, it's just like fucking My body's like, before I just thought it was the hangover, and the truth to be told, it's like just my body's just falling apart.
Oh yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I every time I take a break, that's what I'm like. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I have like early onset arthritis.
There you go.
Damn
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you're like, why are my knees hurting?
I've been having that for a long time.
When I drink, I don't notice this.
Yeah, I used to cover this up with what would I use before? Oh yeah, alcohol. That's what it was.
Now I got to I got to wake up and take an ibuprofen.
Before everybody freaks out, it's not that bad. I did wake up and my allergies were killing me this morning though.
What is even out right now? I mean, shouldn't everything be dead?
Well, for me, and I don't know if this is odd, but whenever it's really cold and then all of a sudden there's a warm couple of days, I feel like the plants get shocked and they're like, oh, spring. And they fire out some pollen or something. I don't know. Something gets in the air.
Something's going on because I've had a runny nose this whole last week. And I'm not sick.
Right.
I'm like...
And it was like yesterday and today something kicked in. And I don't know if the pollen... Let me see if the pollen count looks like...
I should keep a better look on it because then I bet I could really start to figure out when I need to start taking care of it because I get super bad like spring and fall. And I think fall is probably even worse than my spring one. But usually right around, I don't know, it's August or September, I just get hit so hard with bad seasonal allergies. And I should just look up what it is or even go to a doctor probably better than Googling it.
Well, right now everything seems to be pretty good. The breathing index is... very good. That was like the most adult thing I think I've ever said.
The breathing index.
Well, the breathing index is very good right now. Yeah, we're actually at like 8 out of 10, 10 being the best. We're at like an 8 for how good the pollen index is, or the breathing index is right now in Albuquerque. So
then why does it feel like I've been maced every morning?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. It could be,
I wake up, my eyes are all itchy.
Yeah, I felt like I got a snotty nose. Felt like my head was gonna pop feeling,
Ooh. Hopefully it is just allergies because I know that Holly's out sick. Valeria had full blown. I think it was flu. She had the flu, and I had.
Did you say she was sniffing glue? What's that?
Yeah. She's just coughing glue. No, she had the body aches, the cough, runny nose, pretty much all the flu-like symptoms. Despite she wanted to say she didn't have the flu, it was very flu-like.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I don't think I have the flu. I definitely mine felt like allergies. It was like that pressure up in my nose and my forehead.
Yeah.
And definitely that. So then I was like, laying in bed, and my bed's like super warm because I have a heated sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
And so I didn't want to get out of bed because not the Claritin, but the Walletin that was in my car, that was too far away. You know how it is? Like, you're just like, 30 feet. Oh, God, that's too far away.
I like that Walletin. I get the Target brand Zyrtec, the Tartec.
Is that what it's called? Tartec?
I don't know. That's what my sister calls it. So
That would be worse.
I took it. Yeah.
That makes it sound like there's a lot of tar in it for whatever reason.
That's the reason I have my space heater on Alexa. So
Oh, yeah.
like when I get up, I don't want to get out of bed. Hold on.
Oh, do you have one of those things?
Turn
that
on heater.
Oh, that's a good idea, man. Alexa, turn the heater on. Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. All right.
Shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. There.
Oh no, that's why I was trying not to say the word.
Whoops.
Yeah. Now
Sorry.
she's gonna start playing music here.
Sorry, A word.
She's like, I'm gonna get the party going. Turn the heat up.
Right.
It's getting hot in here.
Right.
I was like, I was making sure not to say the word because
I hadn't thought about that because I have a couple of those like plug-in the switches that you attach.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what I use in my room. I'm
Interesting.
I don't want to get out of bed, but hold on. Turn on heater.
That's a good idea, man.
I'm like, cool. In 10 minutes, I can get out of bed.
I like that Tartec. I remember when like cigarettes, like there was a big thing in the 80s. They were like, now with low tar. Like,
There was tar?
yeah, and I was like,
20%
man,
less tar.
less tar, low tar cigarettes. And I always wonder, like, sometimes you'll see a product and they'll say shit, and they're like, now with less, Canuba wax, and you're all, okay, is that good or bad? What's,
Yeah.
was that a thing?
Isn't that what they use to make like candy glossy? That's
Right.
all I know.
Well, then that was like the gluten thing. I remember when that first happened, I was like, what the fuck is gluten?
Well, and then for the last like 20 years, it goes back and forth on whether fats are good or bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember like eggs.
Eggs. That was
It was
the
like
one.
eggs are bad for you. They're going to kill you. And then like 2 months later, actually eggs are really good for you. Then they were bad for you again. So then like it's a running joke, like, are they still good for us or are they bad for us?
Right. And,
No one seems to know.
well, and then
It's loaded with cholesterol. Actually, it's good cholesterol. No, it's bad cholesterol. No, actually, I think it's pretty good.
I don't know.
well, and then the fat-free products, they take the fat and they replace it with sugar, which I know for a fact is not any better.
Yeah, that is way worse.
Yeah.
Right. So, you want to tell people what happened?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've known about it for a while,
I have.
actually.
I've kept pretty good. I've done pretty. We almost like said it on the show because I didn't know it was a secret.
Yeah, so January 10th was my last match in professional wrestling. I had been champion of the multiverse for Party Hard Wrestling for a good while now, and we had been building up to their big event, Party Mania 4, which I had talked to the promoter to let him know that I think that we wanted that to be my final match. We wanted to get some up and coming talent from the area, that some very promising workers to put in there with me that I could pass the title off to and give them an opportunity to showcase themselves and kind of put an end on my career and hopefully give somebody a platform to shoot theirs off and so they can go off and accomplish some great things as well. And so I had the match. I lost to a guy by the name of Mr. Classic and his manager, Capane. Both of the competitors in the match, it was Parada and Mr. Classic. They did an outstanding job. These guys, Parada's only been wrestling for like a year and a half. And Mr. Classic, I think he was staying just a little over 3 years. Capane is still in like training. They're over there getting some of the best training from the people in the area, and they're going to do great things. And I'm really excited to see what they do next. But that was the cap of a 10-year career for myself.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did it end? Did they pile drive you through a table?
So I took Mr. Classic's move, which is the unprettier. I'm sure he has a much better name for it, but Christian's finisher, where he goes.
Well, that's great. That's a great move.
Yeah, and so he spins through, he sits out, and that was it. So I took
Did
it
it hurt?
clean, and well, I mean, bumping in the ring always.
Especially face first.
Yeah, but still, it's just it was a cool moment. And whenever he was like working it out, he was like we were trying to figure out different ways for it, and he was like trying to figure out a way that didn't like. I don't know. I guess he wanted it to be like a cheap victory, and I was like, no, man. Like, I want this to be like a moment for you. I don't want anyone to question it. Like, oh well,
you put him over.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Because I mean, if it was a cheap finish, there's always the chance that you could come back.
Yeah. And everyone keeps telling me I can have that, that Terry Funk retirement where I can just
forever.
Yeah,
forever.
But no, this is really what I wanted. I wanted to be able to walk away from the business on my terms, as opposed to it being an injury or
like Terry Funk.
Yeah, or just really anything that could have possibly taken me away from it. Not whenever I was ready for it. Mm-hmm. And every match that I would have is just another opportunity that could have, injured me or taken,
sure.
Months away from my life or slowed me down in my older age, because I'm turning 30 at the end of next week, and it's
older age. Hold on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's talking about like when he gets older, it would have made him cripple. Like when he would be in a wheelchair.
Right, so it's like I could have done this until I was 50 and been in awful condition, but no, I'm just happy that I got to do the things I did. I can't thank the people that helped me on my journey enough. There's a lot of people that were involved with my training. There's a lot of people involved in letting us sleep on their couches or feeding us whenever we didn't have like any money for road food and just opportunity after opportunity to meet people across the country and in Mexico and just so many great people, and all my peers, fans have been reaching out to me in different forms, whether it's through Instagram or social media and texting me. It's just been it's been great.
Interesting.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah. And you guys put out a video yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning, you'd already filmed it and edited it.
We did,
and it was quite. I'm going to be real honest. It was really filmed really well.
Thank you.
Edited very well. Kind of a tearjerker. I mean,
yeah.
Did you get a lot of that from people?
Yeah, and I mean, for me, whenever I watched it, I had written it, and I met with his name is Nick Archuleta. He's training here in Albuquerque, and he's outstanding. I come with him with these videos and I tell him like my idea. I tell him the vision. Sometimes I have it written down, or sometimes I'm just like spitting it all out at once. And so then he's like the cinematographer. He gets like all these angles and we just shoot it, and we, spend a few hours just putting it all together. And then I just put it in his hands and I'm like, hey man,
nice.
I need it by this day, if he can try to get it to me as soon as he can. And so I told him that we filmed right before we did last week's. I was literally filming all the way up until I could just have enough time to go home, like shower and get over here. So
we appreciate that.
Yeah, we were running down to the very end, and then over that last week, he was patching it all together and stuff. But it was it came out so. I couldn't have asked for it to be better than it was.
Really good, yeah.
And whenever I watched it for the first time was after I had already done the match and made my speech. And so there was a lot of people that came over to where we were staying in Mesa to come just kind of hang out with me while we were there.
Yeah.
And so I was able to like set up the computer and we all watched it together. And I was like, hold it together. Hold it together. You can't cry in front of everybody.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, if people want to watch that too, it's on our Facebook page. I posted it on there. Mm-hmm. So now that it's over, now it's all said and done, what would bring you out of retirement to do like one match, like say 5 years down the road?
Nothing. And I mean, I always say that now, but I wanted it to be done.
What if like the orphans need the rec center saved and you have to defeat the evil wrestling banker?
Right. No, I really don't know. I don't know what it would take.
Or the cat sanctuary needs money.
The Squires, Tommy and Eddie, the guys that have been doing this stuff with me for a good while, they always ask me, they're like, so what if AEW calls and they're like, hey, we're wanting to work with you? I was like, man, like. Of course,
Well,
like all the big things would be great, but it's just like I am ready to put an end to that part in my life,
Yeah.
and I could see myself popping into a wrestling show, and if
Yeah.
they ever needed me to do something on the mic, I'd maybe consider that. But my in-ring performance days, I thought long and hard before I made this decision because I did not want it to be one that I would take lightly.
What about managerial role? Would you be a manager?
Possibly. I just don't want to take, any more bumps or take spots away from the young guys who are working so hard. And these guys, I know how hard it is to do professional wrestling. And there's these guys like Happy and the Monster 9. I've been trying to put their names out there whenever promoters are reaching out to me because there's a whole group of wrestlers here in New Mexico, and the way I see it is any show that I would go out there and wrestle on, I'm taking a spot away from somebody else that potentially hopes to even go much further than I got in wrestling,
right.
and or to do things that they haven't done. I've done a lot of stuff, and that they are still hoping to do, and I want them to have opportunities to do it. And every time that I'm out there taking one of those spots, it's taking one away from them.
How far do you feel that you got?
I got pretty far. The one of my big things, one of the big reasons behind this decision was because I had to figure out what it would take to get to the next level. Like
right.
What if I'm going to take this even more serious, and what would it take? And it would take obviously cleaning up my image a lot more, but also having myself be a lot more available to take bookings that aren't just, for that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or not having a day job so I could train a lot harder and do stuff. There's a guy in the Midwest right now. His name is Warhorse. And he's, built like a studio in his garage. He has his own personal gym that he has like inside of his house that he built like almost all the stuff by hand. He'd buy like secondhand and refurbish them and everything. But it's just like, it takes a lot of work to get that next level. But I've seen in the last like 3-4 years, this guy, he was just jumping in a car with people, and then now he's on iPay-per-views, and he's like all over the place, and it takes a lot of work, and I realized that I did not want to put in that amount of effort to go to what would be the next level, or to maybe even get a contract. And because of that, I think it was time for me to wrap up and be thankful for the things I did.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that because I actually started dabbling in acting, and I was like, oh, I do this every once in a while, and I'm taking classes, and it wasn't until I straight up quit my job and did it full time that that is the commitment that it takes to get to like a certain level.
Right.
Like I'd ask my friends, like, oh, I'm an artist, and I was like, really? But do you have another job? Well, yeah, of course I do. Well, then that's more like a hobby, then, isn't it? They're like, well, that's mean.
Hey.
I was like, well, what do you do? I'm like, all I do is acting. I just go to auditions and auditions and auditions, and all I did was acting. And it took 5 years to make it like a steady career, but it took 5 years.
There's a lot of paths to get to the end. Some people get lucky. Some people have the good connections, and some people, fast track to success. But I think at the end of the day, you get from the business what you put into it. And I had not been putting the effort that I needed to for a good while, and then I got injured, and it made me reassess what I wanted to do. So I created this character. I started putting in the work. We were pushing really hard, and then I got injured again. This next injury didn't like put me out of the ring, but it made everything so much harder. And I realized that if I were not in a day job and something like this happened, I would not have the health care that I needed to take care of it. And if I couldn't wrestle, what would I do then? And I was not prepared to take that gamble and didn't want to,
Well, and
destroy my last ligaments.
I feel like another thing that is against you as well is time. Is like right now in professional wrestling is one of the best times in the last 20 years.
Right.
Like we're in a new like golden age of wrestling. I mean,
Yeah.
you have the WWE, which has 3 programs. You have Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Then you have AEW, which has Wednesday Night Dynamite. They have their own pay-per-views. Then you also have the NWA, which has the Power Hour on YouTube. And if you haven't seen that, it's actually excellent.
Outstanding.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, Zicky Dice is a great performer. I've had opportunities to share a lot of locker rooms with him, and had the opportunity to wrestle him before everything got tied up, which was really nice. But he's been working towards their television title out there.
Okay, yeah. Then there's Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor's kind of like they're on TV now.
And Impact also is still
TNA.
around.
So there's a lot of places to go.
Yeah.
But the problem is this all happened in like the last couple of years, and everybody that they're bringing in is like 18, 19, 20, 21, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and in your 20s is the time to get big. But there's people like R-Truth. There's people. I think Batista was fairly older whenever he started to break into the scene. So there's always the exception to the rules. But I think with any professional sport, there is a time whenever you would like to really get in there, so you can have a longevity to your career.
Yeah. Because AEW. It's very aerial.
Yeah,
the flippy stuff, and that's what they call it. And so there's like very few.
That's a term.
Yeah, really. Actually, that's a Jim Cornette term.
Yeah.
And you don't see a lot of like traditional wrestling. I would say that the traditional wrestler in there is Jericho. And he does flippy stuff,
How old is Jericho now?
He's in his 50s.
Yeah.
So, but he still does the lion salt, But can you think of any wrestler that's on there that doesn't do a suicide dive? They do a way too.
And that's like the thing too, is that you have like the bar getting raised all the time because give it 20 years ago, whenever WCW was trying to introduce Lucha Libre really to the mainstream.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
They started bringing in Rey Mysterio and Psychosis. But if you think about like the American roster, it was not suicide dives and moonsaults and like apron bumps and that was like so unheard of. And
that's like everything that I grew up with. Like I started. Back in the day, I was considered a good skateboarder. Now, people will be like, "Is that all? Is that all you have?"
Yeah.
I was like, "No, check it out, dude. I just jumped over a thing."
Right. Yeah.
I stood on it, didn't fall off. I'm pretty good.
I turned my board over. I did like a half pivot. That's not a thing. That's just normal now. Okay.
Well,
cool.
The funny thing about that, like if the way you're talking. ESPN, because I got the Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. So I did the Disney Plus, the Hulu, and the ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
And talking about like what you're saying, the evolution, one of the best 30 for 30s on ESPN is The Birth of Big Air with Matt Hoffman. Because there was like all these, I remember when I grew up in the 80s, there was all these like trick riders, and when the invert riding and all that stuff first started coming in. Mm-hmm. People were just they didn't like they were all in California. They were all like in East or West Coast,
Yeah.
Well, Matt Hoffman was like in Oklahoma, and the best thing that ever happened to him was not being able to see it on TV, because he had a BMX bike, and his dad built him ramps, and he didn't know what the limit was. He didn't know where people were. He just went out and fucking did shit,
just whatever,
because he didn't know. He had like no idea. He's like, fuck it, I'll do this. And then he would go to competitions, and he was like the first guy that threw out a backflip. He was the first guy that threw out a backflip flare,
Yeah.
All these crazy moves. And people were like it was like minds exploded when they saw this. So then his thing was he went and set up a training facility in Oklahoma where he's from, and like wouldn't let anybody see. And then he would just always come out with like these crazy tricks. And then it was up to everyone else to catch up. You either caught up, and like one of the guys that they're interviewing, he's in like his security guard outfit, and he's like, I was sitting there like, can I do this? Am I able to do this trick? You know, and like once the answer was no, it was like your career was over. You know,
Yeah.
and that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So it's a good watch. So check it out. It's Birth of Big Air. It's really great. But then the more. I mean, that dude's probably got CTE so bad.
Well, yeah, and I was like, I already have, a bad knee. I get a bad shoulder, and so I'm gonna have to get those taken care of as well. And I think that I think I needed this, man. I think that to be able to have a long and healthy life afterwards, it was going to be a good decision for me to just take a step away. And I got so many friends that are continuing to push for the dream, continue to live the dream, and I'm going to continue to support them, and I'm excited to see what they have. As we were talking about skateboarding, I remembered that you got an amazing Tony Hawk Pro Skater shirt. Yeah. I spent so many hours on the first 3 of those games. I cannot even tell you how much.
Here's the thing. Anytime you ever want to play one against me, you're more than welcome, but you will be beaten.
on Pro Skater?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
That sounds like a challenge.
I'll challenge anybody, anywhere, anytime.
You have one?
There is not a lot of video game. We'd have to get it somewhere. There are not a lot of video games.
That's the thing. You have to find it somewhere.
There are not a lot of video games I'm that confident about. That is the game.
Mine's Tekken.
Okay. I'm with you on that. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, though, man. I'll kill it.
Yeah, I don't have any game that I can talk that confidently about, but my trash talking game is superior. I win with the mind games first.
So
I'll go to the arcade
and
I'll put in the quarter or the dollar, so that it is nowadays, and I will get all the way to the boss on that.
I do like that whenever Holly said she was sick and couldn't come, I was like, oh, sweet, we can talk about farts and video games on the show.
Yeah.
And here we are in video game land.
We got plenty of time to get to the farts.
I want to. So before we get back to the video games, I want to do. So is there is there a highlight reel out there of Ray Basura, the Trash King, or
not yet? That's something that I'm going to work on. I'm going to be reaching out, trying to get a lot of footage that because that's the thing. I would go wrestle a show, and I'd be like, yeah, hopefully I'll get footage. I'll keep an eye out for it. But it's always I have the next show coming up, and it just would become a thing where I'm looking forward and just would forget about it. So I'm going to try to reach out and get a lot of this. I have some really good stuff that I did with Mosh Pit Mike whenever we were doing Brew 66. I have the Trash King stuff that I did with Manny Lemons that led to the dumpster match. I have Wrestler of the Year candidate stuff that I was doing way back in the day. And so I'm going to try to hunt down a lot of this stuff and put it together. So over, however long it takes, I'm going to be trying to post a lot of that to YouTube. And then if I can get a nice, good highlight package together, I'll throw that up on, Facebook. And
that's
everything.
dope, man.
But, yeah.
So, who was your favorite person to wrestle, or what was your favorite?
That's
match?
always a difficult question. I was talking about it on the drive up there that Josh Payne here in New Mexico. I've wrestled so many people and I've wrestled so many matches, but for some reason, I always had such good chemistry with him, and I've heard that from so many other people. It just would blow my mind every time that we'd work together, just how good it felt. He would always just be, every time I wanted to do anything, he was there. Or anytime that I had this idea of hopefully he does this, he would do it. And it's just it was all this unspoken stuff, and we're not even having to talk to each other in there. It just would happen. And he always brought good matches out of me. There's been Effie from I think he's living in Florida now, and he's had that same feeling. The times I'd work with him, we'd talk about just so little, and then we'd go in there and just have a great time. We just beat each other up, and it was great. Yeah.
Wow. What was your worst match?
Oh man,
I know you know this. Who's wrong? No,
that's a loaded question.
No. I've had some stinkers. I'll come back to you on that one because I've had some bad matches before. Yeah.
What's the craziest thing that happened that you didn't expect, but it turned out really cool? It was whoa, well that worked,
something in a match. Let's see Well, not so much that it worked, but I was having that. It was the New Mexico Lumberyard match versus the Cult of Waitu.
I remember that.
And we built up this whole thing that we weren't going to go fight outside. And the promoters kept telling us, like, don't go in the audience. And if you do go in the audience, don't go near the walls. We don't need you breaking the building. And I was like, okay, cool. And like, as we're like kind of working out the match, we're like, all right, at some point we'll go to the outside of the ring and we'll kind of brawl around. And that turned into, we get into the match, we go out there, and we start brawling. Instantly, the Cult of Waitu takes it over the rail. And now we're fighting in the crowd. And it's like, okay, whatever, not a big deal. We start fighting all through the audience, and we end up doing a bar fight, like, in the middle of the crowd.
Yeah.
And if anyone hasn't seen that before, you set up these 4 chairs, or, you know, however many people are in it. But in this one, we had 4 chairs and, like, in a circle. And then literally, one at a time, you take turns punching the person next to you in the face. What? And because you're so close to the audience, you know, you're really, like, you know, laying it in there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you don't want to destroy the image that they have of you. So you're in there just, you know, taking turns, punching each other in the face. And then we just start, like, going crazy, like, all around this place. And I remember twice the Death Rage Cartel came and told us, do not break, like, the sheetrock. And we're like, of course not. Like, why would we even go over there to begin with? Next thing I know, we're over there in the corner fighting next to a wall, and I get thrown towards the wall, and I'm trying to, like, put the brakes on, like, cartoon style, like, go, 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 go. But as I turn around, there's a person standing there. And so I have to actually, like, dodge them for real. And whenever I dodge them, I hit my back and make a body-sized hole in the wall. Unbeknownst to me, I hit the wall, and I'm like, okay, I didn't feel it break. But and then I come back and the guy throws me through some wood and we're like laying there and he like tells me in my like next to my head, he's like, why did you do that, bro? And so I'm upside down and I look up and I just see like this body shaped hole in the sheetrock. Yeah. Oh man. And I've done so many stupid things in my life, and my parents have been angry with me, and my dad has yelled at me. I have never been yelled at as much as the Death Rage Cartel yelled at me that night.
And that's kind of funny because they were like the villain, bad guy.
Right, and they were like running Destiny Wrestling, and it was just... I felt so bad about it, but I've never been yelled at. I've never had anybody as angry at me as those guys were.
Wow.
It wasn't my fault.
Well,
it was either a person or the wall.
Yeah, it was. There was no excuses there because all of us came back through the curtain at different times, and every single person that come through, they're like, "Talk to Ray. You better talk to Ray."
You were the only one with like drywall dust on your back.
Yeah. They were all, they're like, whoa, it was Ray's fault. Did you know? So they got fired and you didn't, huh?
Yeah, they got fired and I didn't. They did tell us they thought about firing us. They're like, we should strip the belts off of you guys right now.
Oh, dang. That's it. That's pretty interesting.
As I was telling about that story, you were saying like something that you didn't think would work, but it did. I have quite the opposite. Okay. Is I was in Mexico wrestling in Reynosa, and we're doing a Lucha Extrema match, and they're like chanting like, we want blood, and there's like light tubes and barbed wire, and there's all these like crazy things, and these fans are just rabid. They just want to see just like craziness and blood, and just so
wow.
The next time I go to Mexico, I'm in a place, Hermosillo, and they're telling us that they are going to put us in like a light, like a hardcore match. There's not going to be like anything like crazy, but that I could go out there, use some weapons. You guys just kind of, have fun. So I'm out there wrestling Mosh Pit Mike, who is, a deathmatch legend in his own right with JCW and stuff. So
right.
He has this thing where in the match, I pull out this stake. And I'm like, oh man, these fans are gonna love this. So I like go there and I start like stabbing him with the stake, and then like I get him down on his knees, I pull his tongue out, and I just start stabbing through his tongue with the stake. And the fans hated it. There's like I don't know, like
He was
5
throwing up.
There's like like people are like turning away, and like they told me later that the sound people like couldn't look at it, and like everybody like, and like nobody cheered. They were just like, oh,
Dead
it was
silence.
like well, not dead silence, but it's just like oh, like groans and like oh, and then he was the bad guy, and he hit me with a chair and got huge reaction. Because,
Wow, the crowd turned just like that.
yeah, because they were like, that guy's fucked up. That was too far.
He's not a good guy.
Yeah.
What was it like wrestling in Mexico?
Outstanding. I like they have such an appreciation for the art form.
Oh, yeah.
And the people that would put us up there and take us out there just took such good care of us as well.
Was it sponsored by Corona?
It was sponsored by the cartel, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, right. It's always some like every time I ever watch like Mexican wrestling.
That's called Mexico.
Yeah.
Every time I watch it, it's like Corona or Tecate, and like they'll do tag team wrestling, except there's never tagging.
Yeah, the Lucha Libre tag team rules a little different. If you roll through the bottom under the bottom ropes,
Yeah.
that is considered like
A tag.
A tag, yeah.
And it's so weird.
I always thought that made the dynamics like following it a lot harder, because I always thought that the storytelling of like this guy's getting beat up by the other tag team and he can't get to his other partner to make the tag, or like when the hand's out they're reaching for it and just miss it. Like I always loved those moments.
Yeah.
And I love the fast paced like acrobatics of Lucha Libre wrestling, but I do feel that it lacks in the storytelling element from that. Yeah.
In a way, and like that's like the modern AEW kind of style wrestling as well.
Yeah.
Because they don't really seem to tag either. I mean, they do. They kind of try to mismatch it, but I do feel like it's more of a fast paced storytelling, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like there's definitely some stuff there, but that's crazy, man. So I guess end of an era.
It is
10 years. Is it 10 years?
10 years. I mean, technically, it'll be 10 years next week, but
okay.
I mean, it's 10 years.
That's pretty close.
Your All My Body says it's 10 years.
Yeah.
What was your favorite city to wrestle in?
Over the last few years, it's really become Phoenix.
The Albuquerque is the answer.
Well,
Just kidding.
Albuquerque's home. Albuquerque is home, and Albuquerque helped get me my start. And the DWO fans always like. We got to do so many cool things, but then over the last couple of years, DWO hadn't had the ability to run because of the sports commission, and just things got really hard, and so I ended up, going out to these party hard shows, and really the way they let me like run with the character, the things they let me do, really started to become home for me.
Oh, wow.
And that's only because DWO wasn't there for that to be for me, and so Party Hard Wrestling became my new home promotion essentially. And if anybody is following DWO or Destiny Wrestling, they had a meeting this last weekend, and looks like they're going to be having some talks about some things that may be changing this year. So fingers crossed that maybe Albuquerque will have their promotion back, or at the very least get to say goodbye formally if they end up hanging it up for good, a farewell show, or working out some type of schedule where they only do a couple shows a year, whatever it may be. But I hope that they get it figured out, because the New Mexico fans were amazing out here.
So Albuquerque's the answer. Best place.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty awesome. So I did not hear that. So that's good news.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good news in a way, but then bad news in a way that you won't be there anymore, because you were kind of a major part of that. You and Hobo Hank and Thunder.
Yeah.
So who watches this show? We need to get Thunder on the show.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, Thunder has been wrestling for a long time, and he's still been doing shows out in Texas lately.
Level N,
yeah, and so it'd be nice to have him pop in and see what else. But I think that it's crazy to have started whenever I was like 20 years old, and I didn't know all these guys, and got to a certain point where they're peers to me, and then I was able to go out and do things, and it's really cool to have had the connections I have.
Does it ever happen where, like, say somebody does a move and you're like, oh wow, how'd you do that? Can you tell me? Can you show me how to do that?
All the time, yeah. That's like, and then they'll show you, and you still can't figure it out, and it's like that's so obvious the way you do it, and then you go and try to do it in training, or you go to try to do it, and you're like, how the hell was that? You had to put the foot over here, and now, okay, yeah.
You know what move they're ruining right now? Just because
the Canadian Destroyer.
That's the exact move. How did you know I was going to say that?
Because it is like the move that everybody does.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
So what the Canadian Destroyer is like there's the move that's called the pile driver. Pile driver is the move that ended Steve Austin's career. Really, it really did. Like he took the pile driver wrong and he didn't tuck his head, and it shortened his career.
Yeah, significantly.
Anyway, the Canadian Destroyer is a front flipping pile driver.
Yeah.
And the way they do it, I mean, I'm sure it's actually way safer than a normal pile driver, actually. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Oh, Ray says no. So anyway, if you watch AEW, there's going to be I remember whenever I first saw it on TNA, I was blown away. I was like, that is insane.
Yeah, P.D. Williams.
First of all, it's ridiculous because there's no way, because the guy doing most of the work is the guy getting the move. That's what I could tell. It looks like the guy, maybe I'm wrong. Like he's lifting the guy and the guy's flipping.
Definitely a team effort.
It sure is. But I mean, okay, so if I was in a fight with somebody, I would not
ballet.
I would not do a front flip and pile driver.
Yeah, I would do an old school pile driver if I was gonna.
Hell yeah. But you watch, it was just explosive out of nowhere. Like I'd never seen anything like it. It was like the McTwist of skateboarding. Mm-hmm. Now it's like you turn on AEW every week. Somebody even people who shouldn't even be doing it are doing a Goldust now does, or Dustin Rhodes now does the Canadian Destroyer.
Wow. Yeah.
And that is really crazy to see Goldust doing a front flipping pile driver.
Well, that's like the escalation that I was talking about before. It's just like you got to keep up and keep what's exciting, and it's wild. And then the cutters, or at least the RKO or whatever, everybody does at least
a
4
version
in every match.
Yeah. Well, and then the suicide dive, that's a big one too.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if you had been following what happened with La Parka.
No.
Yeah, so La Parka, this is how it's been told to me. I didn't actually see it, but I guess he did a suicide dive, took a head into a barricade, and passed away yesterday.
La Parka's dead?
What the hell?
I didn't know La Parka died.
Yeah, and I guess he didn't recover from the injury.
Oh, shit.
And so I don't know how long ago it was, but I know it wasn't in-ring death
No,
or
I
anything.
didn't see
but
that.
he passed away.
Well, there was the match down in Mexico with Rey Mysterio.
And Pedro Gallo.
That's the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're going to do the 619, and the guy didn't catch himself, and he hit his throat on the rope, and it killed him.
Yeah, they have different thoughts on exactly what it was, but ultimately some type of neck injury caused him to pass away in the match.
I watched the footage, and you can tell the guy's. I mean, you clearly can tell he passed out.
Yeah,
unconscious. Mm. I mean, he's dead, but I thought he looks unconscious.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that can cause somebody to. it's.
Well, this took a swing.
Yeah, right. No. Well, I was saying that there's a lot of things that can happen in a match that just are unexpected and you don't know, and so people can faint, people can pass out. I've done some shows where referees have puked from heat exhaustion, just because they. And I don't know if I want to make sure to say this, that referees are the unsung heroes of professional wrestling.
Right.
Those guys work so damn hard. They a lot of these shows only have one referee, so if you think about that, that's 8 matches where the referee is out there. Well, I mean, 8 or more sometimes, but these referees are just going out there and they're running around, they're doing the counts, and they have to make sure to hit their mark every time, because if they're not there for it, it will fuck up a match. And
they're a performer as much as you're a performer.
Just as big of a part of it. Yeah. Just the focus isn't on them, but without their level of knowledge of, if they're in your way, if you're fumbling over a referee, it can ruin ruin the match. But
Yeah.
like if they're not there for calling your cheats or calling the match, like trying to keep it fair, there's a lot of times where you're trying to work towards that, and if the referee isn't there, you're like, oh, I guess I can just choke this guy all day, or I guess I can just rake his eyes out and nobody cares, and it doesn't have the same effect as it was. And there are just so many guys that just work their asses off out there that I don't know if they get the attention that they deserve for that.
Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle Neese, Scott Johnson out of Arizona. He has been one of my favorite referees to work with, and he's now training to do in-ring work. And I'm so excited for him because he has so much charisma. He is a great guy. He's in great shape, and I really hope that he does some great things out there.
Yeah, I always loved it because like local DWO, there was a guy, Kyle Neese.
Kyle
I met him.
Neese.
He's a really cool guy. Mm-hmm. What I love about the fans here is like they would, if he was not the referee, and like any little discretion, they would go, "We want Kyle," and they'd clap, and then Kyle would come out. And instead of like cheering him or doing anything, they would give him more shit than anything ever in the world. They'd be all, "Come on, Kyle! Help her out. She's from New Mexico."
Yeah,
and then, count better, Kyle. They would scream just constantly.
Yeah, I love Kyle.
Yeah, that was 3, Kyle. Are you blind? And they would just constantly give him shit. And then he would interact with the crowd. He'd be like,
"Sorry,
what do you want me to do here?" And I always loved it. I always thought that was great.
And that was really cool too, because I remember Kyle was just a fan, and then he reached out to DWO and he's like, "I just want to help in any way that I can." And then they start having him come into training sessions. They're like running him through a lot of the stuff that the wrestlers are having to do and kicking his ass. And he's just like, "Oh God, this is hard." Yeah. But I think it gave him a lot more perspective of what
absolutely.
it goes into it. But also like for these referees, they have to know how a flow of a match works, how like all the ins and outs of it for them to properly do their job for it. But yeah, I loved Kyle. Love Kyle, not past tense. I love the guy.
Yeah, he's pretty great. So yeah, we're kind of at the end of the first hour, kind of a break time. So, I mean, now that you're retired, I guess you don't really have anything to promote to come up. I mean, unless you do.
I do, actually.
Okay.
So this next week, I'm going to be working, or I'm going to be doing an interview for another podcast for the Miranda Show. Her and Greg DeMarco, they do a show out of Arizona about wrestling. So I'm going to be going on there talking about the retirement as well.
Oh, that breaks your contract with us.
Yes.
You can't do other podcasts.
But that is a big one that's coming up, and then of course I told you guys that I'm going to be doing some hunting down some footage and stuff. So always find me on YouTube, Ray Basuda, the Trash King. I'll follow the link for the video that they posted this last week, and I'll be putting old matches on there. And then you can continue to follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm going to be showing some of my other works that I've been doing. I do art. I do a few different things that I'll be posting about, but you'll be able to follow that stuff. Just whatever comes next that isn't hurting my body, though.
you got to make a T-shirt for us. So
yes, that's
new shirts,
on
new
there.
shirts. Smiley, what do you got?
As always, I'm on the second season of Midnight Texas. You can see me in the background on Daybreak, and currently you can find me on Deputy playing a photojournalist.
Wow.
I haven't seen that yet. I don't know anything about it, so I'll have to check it out. I watched Midnight Texas. Wasn't a fan of it, but people should watch it if you're into the vampire kind of mythology, I guess. Yeah. Holly's not here, so I'll promote her Idiot Revolution, which is tomorrow night. It's every Monday night at Founders Speakeasy. You'll need to go to Founders Speakeasy Facebook page, and they do a different password for it. But you can go there, and it starts at 9:00. Next Sunday, we will be doing a special live show.
Oh, that's right.
Holly is going to be recording a live album at the Tricklock Theater in Albuquerque. And afterwards, we're going to do a special podcast with AMC's comic book man, Ming Chen. So it's on his behalf. He wants us to. He came here last year. He did a show. He's back. He's coming back. He wants to be on the show again. So.
And I'm super excited for that. I mean, you guys have your Ming stories, and you guys talk so highly of him.
Oh
so
yeah, great.
He's gotta live up to the expectations now.
I mean, he's a real son of a bitch.
Yeah.
No, I love Ming. He's great. He's gonna hear this. He's gonna hear that, and he's gonna text me.
Yeah, he will.
He does that stuff. So yeah, and it is a $5 to get in the door. That's more to see the comedy show probably. So if you want to see the comedy show, leave. That's fine. I don't care. But definitely I would stick around for Ming Chen though. That's a big one.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're gonna record Holly's comedy album that's gonna come out at some point, I assume. So I don't know. She kind of decided I was doing it. So I was like,
voluntold you.
Well, all right then.
Yeah.
So
you guys,
yeah.
Guess what's happening?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean that's about it. I mean you can check us out most Sunday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. on 10drinkminimum.com, facebook.com/10drink, and our Instagram is @10drink. So
they can also see live on YouTube as well.
Oh, that's right. If they want to like and subscribe us on YouTube, just type in 10 drink minimum and it'll find us, and hit that subscribe button and then click the bell. Is that right?
Yeah, make sure to hit that bell icon. That'll let them know whenever we're live and whenever new videos are up as well.
Yep. And so I'm not drinking this month, but James is, and Ray is.
Yeah.
You guys should as well. But always remember,
never get too drunk to jerk 10drinkminimum.com.
Boys feel right at home, throw some coffee on the stove. Wash your hands on the face, boy, you can't say grace with a mouth full of snow. Lord, he knows I'm cheating. Everybody gets down, sweet potato, everything and I come around to see that feel like still nothing don't kill the soul. Waiting for too long, Lord, please say you'll come and forgive me for what I've done. But I can't clean up now, throw some water on me. Wash your hands on the face, but we can't say grace with your mind full of gold. Lord, he knows I'm cheating. Everybody is down with my finger on the trigger. I'll come around to see that sin like a demon. Spring will kill my soul. Waiting for too long, Lord, please say you'll come come together. Oh, and the world will feel a touch brighter. And I miss you come January, when there's no one but myself to warm my thoughts and half truths. Line up your toes and mine to see the stars. Come together. Toes and mine to see the stars. Come together.
I sold my soul to the bottle. Still none of my friends have left me yet. I'm the same man I was since the age of 13, and I live my life with no regrets. If you're looking for some freedom, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum. If you're looking for rhyme or reason,
Live.
For the wavy
And
hour.
I put wavy hour question mark?
Yeah, maybe.
'Cause I'm not wavy.
How wavy is this hour? Yeah.
I gotta tell you, man, it is not as easy to flow when I'm not drinking on the mic. I don't know.
Sure.
Well, it's just change of pace.
Change of pace. What is? But the other weird one too is like, you know, I was like, it's not gonna be hard to not drink. I can not drink all the time because I have a really good control over like how much alcohol I intake. But I have to tell you, like watching people drink while you're there, I just really, really like the taste of beer.
Yeah.
You know, not the getting wasted and you know, that I mean that's fun too. But the taste, like I just like it. As Smiley opens one.
I'm all,
The
thanks
taste-
for reminding me.
The taste of beer is good, Chris. You're welcome.
No, it tastes awful, Chris. You're missing nothing.
Well,
That's
that-
what we should be saying.
Yeah. I think someone's saying they're proud of you.
Is that Ray Tavares?
Yes.
That is my father.
Ooh.
Yeah. Mostly all of my family was able to make it out for my last
Yeah.
match, which is really fun. My dad, his girlfriend, my mom was able to make it.
Yeah.
Her sister from California came, and she's been a part of my life since obviously I was an infant, but she's always been such a big supporter of me and
Yeah.
quite the encourager of all the bad things that I've done in my life. She's the aunt that gets me to do all the stuff that would get me in trouble. And so seeing me go and make something of all the shit talking and
Yeah.
beating people up that she would always encourage whenever I was
Did your family ever see you get like hurt while you were in the ring?
never hurt. They would ask specifically if it was going to be a hardcore show or not,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
they
yeah,
would
yeah.
choose not to go to those because they couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Valeria, she was able to go. Her cousins, her sister, and some friends, they were all able to make it. We ended up getting an Airbnb that slept 12 people, and we were like,
Oh, really?
yeah, it was a pretty
That's cool.
cramped space for everybody. But I really appreciate everyone that was able to come out for that one. But it was really nice to see them out there, and then they ended up making their own crowns. They
Oh,
got
no shit.
they got Burger King crowns, and then
Yeah.
they taped over all the logos, then taped trash all
Yeah.
over the crowns. And I didn't notice. Well, I didn't see them until I went out for intermission, and
Oh, wow.
it was a pleasant surprise.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Did you get rid of all your merch and stuff?
I got a couple more things left, like a very small amount of shirts, stickers,
Yeah.
and pins. I'm going to be doing some inventory on that probably later on this week, and then do a going out of the business sale and
Oh, dang.
get the last little bit that we have there out, hopefully.
The legendary trash can.
Yeah.
Nice. It's funny because
I just did a striptease there.
I know. Yeah. You could have told me how to turn
I missed
the
it.
camera
Yeah.
out. I'd have moved it. It's funny because I told Holly we were going to do just farts and video games while we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to talk about some video games.
I do as well.
There's something. Is there a video game that there's something I'm excited about? Is there something you're excited about?
No, but I'm always excited about
Oh, I got you.
Pro Skater.
So, well, it wasn't even that. So, like, there's been for a couple years now this company, Arcade 1-Up. They've been making these like 3/4 sized arcade machines, right? They started with like the Pac-Man, Galaga, and then they're putting like one main video game on the outside, but then there's like multiple games on the arcade. Does everyone know what I'm talking
Are
about?
those like the cabinets that they're selling at Walmart now?
Yeah,
and stuff?
correct.
Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
correct.
Yeah.
And like there's a Mortal Kombat one, and it's got Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, all that shit, right?
Yes.
Well, they're like 200, 250 to like, I think 400, depending.
Yeah.
Like they came out with a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one, which has like,
Turtles
but-
in Time.
But the problem with that, what has that regular game and Turtles in Time. Problem with that is those games go by pretty quickly, you know?
Sure.
So getting an upright cabinet of those is always kind of for me like, ugh. So they finally announced one that I just don't think I can resist not buying.
Okay.
what is it?
Because the CES show just happened and they announced it, and I was just like, no fucking way. gotta have it. It is a 4-player upright NBA Jam.
Whoa, things are heating up.
Yeah. But
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say off road, but
no. Ooh, that's a good one too. But
I would, yeah, I would.
But
If you said off road, I'd be like, I'll chip in on that.
oh man, you don't like NBA Jam?
I've never played it, so I don't have.
So
I don't have.
oh man, I love that game, and I feel like Billy and I used to whenever they there's a place in town, Geek On. I keep trying to get I keep talking to the guy and saying to come on the show, and he says yes, and then I never give him a date. Anyway, this guy likes pinball machine. He liked pinball, so he bought one that was broken, or it was either a pinball machine or arcade game. He bought one and it was broken, and he tried to get someone to fix it. No one knew how to fix it in the area.
Pinball upkeep is hard.
So he went online and learned how to fix arcade machines, and so he fixed the one he bought more.
There's literally a lot of bells and whistles.
Yeah, and so he now owns like a whole company called Geek On, and at the local bar, Sister Bar, he puts them in there, and then people play them. And it when they got NBA Jam, Billy and I just played the shit out of it.
I can't tell you the last time I played NBA Jam, but I do remember that was quite fun.
Well, it's got the original NBA Jam, and then it's like NBA Jam like Championship Edition, and then NBA Hang Time. So it has 3 games on it, and it's the first one of the arcade 1-up machines that will connect to the internet, and you can play people across wherever.
Okay, well that's just
Yeah.
okay. That's pretty awesome.
And I'm like, dude, this is fucking amazing. Now, the other thing, too, is, like, I'm super stoked about it. I'm like, fuck, man. And then I'm like, someone's like, well, where'd you put that in your house? I was like, I'll find a fucking place.
Yeah.
And so then, I was, at work. I was kind of bored watching CS. Now they're doing pinball machines. So they're 3/4 size pinball machines, right?
Okay.
Now, it's really difficult to do like the pinball stuff, like the guts of it.
Right.
So what they did is they made it in the shape of the pinball machine.
Okay.
It has the buttons on the outside. It has the plunger that you pull, but the actual and it has the glass. But instead of having all the pinball guts in there, it's a screen. Right?
Oh.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
So they made a Star Wars one.
Okay.
And it has haptic feedback so that it feels like you're playing a real pinball machine. And because of it being LED, they have, instead of just the one pinball machine or the one pinball game, they have 10.
See, I could get into that because I used to play a lot of pinball on my computer whenever I was a kid.
Right.
We'd have I don't even remember. It was made by Sierra or something like that, and you'd have these monster castles, you'd have almost boss battles and stuff in the pinball. So I could get into a digital pinball machine, I think.
And it has the feedback.
Here's the real question.
Okay.
Can I nudge the machine and will it work that way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, then I'm on board.
They showed that on stage. They showed a guy playing the game, and he goes, if I shake it too hard, is it going to tilt? And they said, yes, it is. And he said, if I shake it, will the ball go that way? And they said, yes, it will.
All right. Well, then I'm on board because pinball is all about just you kind of nudge the machine.
Yep. And
that's part of it.
And the thing with that is they're gonna they made the Star Wars one. That's the first one.
Okay.
But then they're gonna have other ones that are gonna have multiple. It'll have Black Knight and fucking Pinbot and Bride of Pinbot. It'll just have multiples.
Cool.
And I'm like, dude, that could be so amazing.
Right. No, I think I'm into it. It just
at first when I saw it, I was like, it's video. I was like, man, and then they were like, hold on, it's got the haptic feedback, so it actually feels like when the ball hits things, it shakes the machine, it moves, And then that guy said that, he goes, if I move it, is the ball going to move with that? And they said yes.
All right, well, I mean, without that, it's not really pinball. So
and the guy the dude was playing it on stage, and he goes, you actually forget, and you actually look at it, and you think it's really a ball. And I was like, damn, that's crazy.
I could see that. it's so immersive already.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're feeling it and stuff,
Yeah.
I think you'd get into it.
Well, the other one that like they made that company makes some crazy shit. Like they're making the tabletop ones now. You know, like you'd go into like a Pizza Hut and they'd have like a
Like
tabletop
the sit-down
game.
ones?
Yeah. So they made a Street Fighter 2 one, and this blows my mind. So you know, you're like, well, how can they make a Street Fighter 2 tabletop game? Because it has both sides, right? Well, when you're sitting on one side, the screen, I don't know how they did this, the screen looks normal to you. If you go to the other side, it looks normal to you. I have no idea how they did that. Like, it just changed. Like, it's weird. Like, the way the screen works, whatever side you're on, everything looks right. And you can play 2-player that way.
They're going to be able to do some really cool stuff. Like the reason why I think they're being able to make these things is because they're so cheap to make now. Especially, like, I bet the most expensive thing in there is like the packaging and the shipping for these things.
Right.
Yeah, because
shell.
putting an LED screen in anything, putting a small computer in there that can read these games, that costs like nothing.
Right.
Like for these companies that are doing it mass producing, I think
The hardest part for them is probably the licensing.
exactly licensing, like building the physical cabinet for itself, and then like shipping these things all over.
Yeah. So my question on that is, what is the arcade game that you would want them to make, like to have in your home? You know, I know James has got to have something.
Oh, I'm still gonna say Off Road.
Off Road is a good one. That is
It's
a really
such a good one.
You're
4-player
talking about
game.
The 4-wheel.
Yeah.
And it like it makes that noise like because I liked that game a lot.
You hit the turbo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then like you're spinning the wheel all fast. That is a great one. That is a great answer.
Like, because
Iron Man Stewart. Like I'd never heard of that person in my life.
It's just not the same unless you're at the arcade cabinet.
Right. No, I agree.
Like I tried playing it when they did the ports to consoles, and it's like, yeah,
No.
it's all about spinning the wheel and smacking the turbo.
Right.
For me, anytime I'd go to the arcade, the one that would just like suck me in that I'd have those, it was Time Crisis. I don't know if you guys ever played those games.
Oh,
It's
heck
those
yeah.
shooting games that you have the pedal that you'd step down that
Love
like have you
those.
pop out. And if they had a cabinet like that, I think I could really get into that.
Fuck. Yeah.
Oh, you never played like the ports on
never did.
on PS2 because
I never had it on PS2. I think that they made them later for like the later PlayStations, but after PlayStation 2, I went to Xbox.
Yeah.
And then I never saw them on there. So I saw they had some.
How did those work? Because like, how did you do the pedal part?
I think what it was if your
pedal.
Foot, if your foot was off, like in the arcade game though, if your foot was off of the pedal.
Oh, I know. I know how I played the games. I was wondering how the home version worked.
Oh, it probably had a pedal. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it came with a gun that even did the recoil thing,
The gun
and a pedal.
Yeah. It's called the Gun Con, wasn't it?
So you had to.
I just remember
It worked exactly like the arcade.
the last gun game that was on home that had a gun was like House of the Dead, because then like everyone was like afraid to put a gun in with the consoles. They're like, oh my god, the kids are gonna we're gonna get sued. So I think like the Dreamcast was like the last one I think that had that.
Yeah, I played a lot of House of the Dead. I played a lot of what is it? Area 50.
Area 51.
Area 51. I played a lot of that one. For me, arcade games were always about the shooting stuff. For me, I love those shooting.
Have you
games.
been around one?
Not yet. I just got told about that the other day.
We gotta go.
Oh man, we gotta go. So they have a Tomb Raider shooting game,
and
it's badass. It's huge. Like it's like almost as big as that wall.
Okay.
And the guns like have the where the
Recoil action.
where it kicks back, and you have to. Yeah, they're it's pretty sick, man.
Yeah,
I totally dig it.
Everything about that place is pretty sick.
Yeah, I like it.
And we were talking about the pinball game, and I had to go look it up just because it was such a throwback for me. Like thinking about like how much of that virtual pinball I used to play. The game that I used to play was called 3D Ultra Pinball Creep Night. I had to like do a little googling to find it, and it came out in 1996.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
And I remember that game so vividly. I'd play it so much. But yeah, it came out in 1996, and virtual pinball is so much fun. So
Yeah.
this new system will be great.
Well, and I mean, you're like, well, if you can't shake it and it can't move, just think of like, how much your phone has like the, what do they call them, I don't know,
Motion sensitivity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got that shit dialed in.
Right.
especially
I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah.
like the Switch and all that shit. You know, that
God,
stuff's
the stuff that
crazy.
they can do on the Switch is crazy.
It
What
is.
What games have you played on it so far?
I have the Mario Deluxe, Zelda, the Breath of the Wild,
Yeah, the
Mario Kart.
Breath of the Wild has so many cool puzzles and things that you
Yeah.
end up using a lot of that stuff with.
Oh, they
But,
said haptics.
yeah, another game that I got really early on whenever I got my Switch was a game called 1-2 Switch, which it's like Wii Sports, if you will.
Is
Like,
that the
it's
one
like,
where you had the draw game where you like shoot each other?
Yeah, you have that one. And it's like a really good intro to like what the Switch can
Right.
do. And there was a game on it where you had to guess how many balls were in a box. And
Okay.
so you hold the controller in your hand and you would move it. And as you would move it, you could actually like the way that you like the
Really? You could
rubber,
feel-
you could feel it like rolling around and like
Weird.
clicking into each other and stuff. And it was nuts how like responsive it was.
That is kind of
Yeah.
crazy, man. That's some crazy shit.
Yeah, that game alone actually sold me on buying the Switch.
Wow.
And it's not that I wanted to play the game so much, just what I knew they were going to be able to do with it.
Right.
And the games I've played on it, I love. But then again, I'm always back into the same thing with Nintendo, where it's like I'm just going to buy all the Mario games.
They're all fantastic.
Mario Party,
Smash Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. I have Smash Brothers, Mario Odyssey, Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
And I don't really buy any of the other games
Yeah.
outside of the Mario ones.
Have you guys tried the Oculus yet?
No, I'd
No.
like to though.
Oh, it's so fun.
Is it really? Who has that?
Me, hopefully here in a little bit. Actually,
Oh.
I've just been trying it out at the store basically,
Oh.
and I'm like, I'm hooked.
Yeah, I know.
You get the two wrist controllers.
Yeah,
and
I've looked at it.
I've only done like the VR where like you have the foam that gets like put in there and then they stuff. So I did like a roller coaster thing and there was
Yeah.
like one where you're like down there like swimming with sharks and that was pretty cool.
that's how I started.
Yeah.
I have the cardboard thing
Now
with the
he's
phone
addicted.
goes in there, and yeah, now I'm.
Once he found out there was porn on it, it was all over.
I found out.
Oh, that's right. There is. Yeah.
I got myself a swivel stool to sit on, so I can just sit in the middle of a room, like
Yeah.
Right.
look around.
I would for sure trip over shit in my house if I was like playing one
Right.
of those games. That's what I think the hardest thing about these games if it starts really taking off with VR is I do think there's gonna have to be like some way of like limiting yourself from like running all
Running into
over.
shit.
Yeah.
So
Swivel stool.
they actually do that. There's a thing like I was looking into the VR stuff. So when you set it up, you set it up in the area that you're going to do it in,
Yeah.
and then you set up virtual walls. And
Okay.
if you're close, it tells you. Like it goes, oh, you're about to run into you're about to hit the barrier.
Right.
So there is that. I mean, you're not going to fall over the coffee table.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, once they get Ready Player One, where he had the treadmill that went
Exactly.
in there, that was some crazy shit. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Ready Player One was not like the best movie out there, but it was so cool. That was fun.
I've heard, everybody's like, the book's way better.
It is. I read the book.
And I go, fuck you, nerd, and I punch him. So I guess we have to fight afterwards.
Yeah, I guess we'll.
I'd say the arcade game that if they were going to make one, besides NBA Jam, they were going to make a 3/4 arcade cabinet of a game that I played all the time, it would be a skateboarding game called 720.
Oh, I remember
I haven't
that.
heard that.
Yeah, oh yeah, man. So it had a special joystick. So it had a kick button, so you could actually push with your foot. Then it had a jump button, and then it had a joystick that was at an angle and spun around.
Okay.
So whenever you were you fly out of the quarter pipe, you'd spin it, and your character would spin. And it was where the term "skate or die" came from, because you were on a timer, and as you were skating around the park. Your goal was to get so much points you got tickets to
Skate or die.
or die. And once the timer ran out, these bees would fly after you. And you would try to run. And your goal was to get to any one of the the parks, the downhill park, the half pipe
Yeah,
park.
you had to get to an event,
Yeah.
or the bees would get you.
Yeah, there was one where it was like a jump park where you jumped
Yeah.
ramps.
Half pipe slalom.
Yeah,
freaking-
slalom. That was the other. And as you're running from the bees would take different formations. Like they would turn into a hypodermic needle. Or,
That's cool.
Or jaws clamping at you.
skull and crossbones.
Yeah. And it was just one of those games. It was just so fun in the arcade. And then they brought it out on the home version. It was just trash.
Bummer.
Because it wouldn't work. It just didn't work that way. I mean, maybe the analog stick would work, maybe because I don't know.
I don't know if it had the same feel as you're saying to have that one you can spin around.
It's called 720. That's what it was called.
It's the same reason like when I play fighting games at home.
Yeah.
I like people look at me because I'm holding like the controller like upside down.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
Because I learned how to like play in an arcade.
Okay.
So I'm
that makes sense.
Except I'm doing it like backwards, so I can like use the controller this way.
Anybody out there in Tidring Minimum Land, what arcade game would you like to see in a 3/4 cabinet in your house?
This one I don't think needs to be in a cabinet because I think you get platformed pretty well. But I loved playing NFL Blitz.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even a football fan. I don't even like football, but it's probably because it was more like a wrestling game.
Yeah.
Like you'd go there and power bomb people and stuff. I loved that.
What was the best wrestling game that you've ever played?
Man, I spent so much time on like the SmackDown versus Raw games in like the mid 2000s, and it's not like. I'm sure the wrestling games are great now. I haven't played one in years.
The 2020 WWE one's like the new like make fun of because it's so
bad,
so glitchy and bad. Everybody makes fun of it.
But
and then there was something where like in the coding, once the year turned over to 2020, it fucked up the game.
Like a Y2K type of thing.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Yeah.
What a bummer.
Someone else has Time Crisis in the chat. Yeah.
Yes, man. I haven't been to an arcade to play Time Crisis in so long, but every time I see one, it's just like takes me back, and I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was the last time? I think don't they have one over here at this movie theater?
What's
the
that?
Downtown?
What's that?
Time Crisis.
Over here? I don't know. I know they have one at Round 1.
I know. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Somebody told me around one because they're saying they had like the karaoke, like the private karaoke
That's
spots
correct,
too.
Yeah, we've done that. What was the wrestling game where it was all rappers?
Def
Jam Vendetta.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, see that game was awesome because it was made by the same people who made the WWE No Mercy, WWE,
NWA, NWO Revenge.
And those to me, and in my opinion, those were the greatest wrestling games of all time. WWE No Mercy is bar none the best.
This wrestler Mikey was saying that there's people that'll call the No Mercy spot, and that's where they bump into each other, and then they like puff up. Do you remember whenever you do that No Mercy?
And you like flex, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing about that game is it came out on PC, or I don't know if it came out on PC or not, but people have ported it to the PC.
Okay.
And a community of people have upgraded it. Like you can download that game for PC, and then you can go find mods for it for all kinds of different shit. Huh. Like you can find one that's like all 80s wrestlers.
Oh, cool.
You can find like modernized graphics for it. Like people have gone nuts for that.
I was thinking if Def Jam were made today, I don't think there's many rappers that would be very intimidating in a fight.
Right. Lil Jon, not so much.
Yeah, well, it's like, Fat Joe, I think, was on the Def Jam game.
Fat Joe.
Yeah, but I just don't think that like half of these rappers are very imposing.
That's true, though. Like I feel like on that Def Jam Vendetta, it was like 8 of the wrestlers were the Wu-Tang Clan, It's like,
yeah. That was a different time in rap and in wrestling.
And wrestling video games. Yeah. Well, like the first one was great, the second was great, and then like the third one, they moved away from the wrestling aspect of it, and you would do like something where you like mix turntable. I don't know. I read about it, and then I was just because I was excited. I was like, cool, a new Def Jam Vendetta, and then I read about it, and they were like, yeah, sounds like they ruined it.
That reminds me of the Tony Hawk, how it happened.
Tony.
Oh, yeah.
Like I loved like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, fucking amazing.
Amazing.
And then eventually it became like some sort of like
5 was terrible.
Some sort of like adventure game, and I'm like, what?
Oh,
what
so
happened?
You didn't like Thug, Tony Hawk Underground?
No, I didn't.
I liked it.
I didn't. Yeah, see, I liked it.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
3 was the one that I spent. 2 and 3 I think were the two that I spent the most time on.
Those are solid gold, man.
Yeah, the 3 was the one at the airport, right? where you can. Yeah, that was I spent a lot of, and that's where you could start like putting in.
Don't
cheat
do
codes.
drugs.
We could put in cheat codes, like start like unlocking like different people.
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul was that was like my big one. You have the lightsaber out there. Didn't he have a hoverboard too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is right. His board was, and it had like little.
Which one had Spider-Man? Was that the second? Or was that the third?
Yeah, it was the second one, I think, because that's when the Spider-Man game came out, made by the same people. So yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I don't know.
Why can't we find those anymore?
What
What
do you
the
mean?
F?
What do you mean can't find them?
Well, they're not ported onto any of the newer consoles.
They are not. They are not. You are correct, but they are all on PC.
Yeah.
Well,
can
what if you
actually-
only have a phone?
Well, then you're effed on that one.
Yeah.
There's actually a thing called, what is it called? It's called Thug Pro. And it is, you download Tony Hawk Underground 2, I think. And then you download this mod called Thug Pro. And it gives you, it's a game that people created. And it has every level from every Tony Hawk. On one game.
That's cool.
That was one of the funnest parts about like Tony Hawk 2 and 3 was like making your own skate park.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Well, there's no one else around right now, so I guess I'm just gonna make some crazy shit.
I never got into that shit.
Yeah, I don't think I ever even
I
made
always
a
felt like
part.
that was a fucking. I just wasn't artistic enough to do that. I don't know. And then I'd go to someone's fucking house, and then they'd have they create some level, and I'd be like, dude, this is amazing. And then I'd try to do that at home, and I'd just be like, I hate this. I hate it. I hated it thoroughly. And then they would like make you do it. Like I didn't mind that it was on the game. I didn't mind that it was like a separate thing you could do. But then whenever they started like putting it into the actual gameplay, we're like, oh, you have to actually move this shit around and create a level. I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck you, people.
that was part of the downfall.
I spend a large amount of my time on the wrestling games creating a wrestler. That's a
whole different deal.
Yeah, and that was like a big thing for me is that it wasn't even about the wrestlers that were ported on the game. Or it was about the type of matches that I could play, and then the creator wrestlers that I could
Damn
create
straight,
on
man.
there. Yeah.
Once they put that hell in the cell on them, you're like, yeah,
Right.
I'm throwing some motherfucker.
Well,
off the
then they
top.
had like hardcore matches too, and yeah.
Crazy, man.
Does it always have to come back to wrestling?
Yes.
Ah,
Poor James.
Yeah.
where's Holly when I need her?
She's sick. I told her farts in video games.
Yeah.
Excuses.
Excuses. Well, what do you want to talk about, James? What's going on with you?
Oh no, I'm still good with video games.
Oh, okay. You just don't want to play wrestling video games.
Yeah.
I haven't played them, so I've, like every time you go into that, I'm all, I don't know what
I don't know why you would
about.
never. I mean, you like fighting games? Well, they're pretty much a fighting game.
Well, they're not like okay. You're old enough. You've been in like an arcade, right?
Yeah, many times.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have. Yes. Fortunately, yes.
So I grew up like with fighting games in the arcade, like it basically like the same way like people do pool. Like you throw your quarter up there, and you fight the next person.
So your favorite was Tekken. Did you like Virtua Fighter at all?
I liked it. I just wasn't very good at it.
Yeah. It was weird because it was before Tekken. I remember when Virtua Fighter came out, the first one. And I was like, well, that's kind of generic and cool because it was very generic.
But it was the first like three-dimensional polygon fighter.
Yep.
Because before that, it was just 2-bit.
Yeah, whenever I had, I think it was Mortal Kombat 4 on the 64, whenever you could actually like move around each other.
Yeah.
That seemed like so groundbreaking to me. It was like, whoa, my mind's blown. You're not just like having to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Was did Tekken do it first, James?
No, Virtua Fighter.
No, Virtua Fighter was...
Then Tekken came out.
Who was Mortal Kombat the first one, though, that had like a 3D fighting space?
No.
No, Pit Fighter was the first one. Wait, 3D...
Kind of, yeah.
Are you talking about 3D or like virtual people or like?
More so just like being able to not just be like side scroll.
Virtua
kind of
Fighter.
Oh no, that was Virtua Fighter.
And then Tekken, and then everybody else kind of likes because like Virtua Fighter did it okay, and then Tekken came out and just fucking rocked it.
And then there was Ballerina Toshinden.
Oh, that's right. Because I remember like the PlayStation 1 came out, and you could get Tekken, and it was pretty much the same game as the arcade,
which was crazy.
which was crazy. And it was like, wow, it was an arcade port directly.
I was like, oh my god, I don't have to spend like $20 a week at the arcade now.
I'm sure there's some fucking nerd out there that's like, well, actually, it wasn't exactly a port of the arcade machine.
But yeah, my jam was always fighting games at the
Who's your
arcade.
character on Tekken?
At this point, any of them. But original.
King, even King?
Oh, King's my favorite. He's
Wrestler.
like, shit.
Wrestler. He was a wrestler. You played a wrestling game.
King, Paul, martial law,
Martial law.
Lei Wulong, Nina. Seriously, like any of them. I've been playing Tekken since it started. Like I can do an entire match just bitch slapping someone with Nina.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've played that with me.
No,
Check this out.
Yeah, I don't know if did we? I don't know if we ever played. Did we?
Well, they have it over at Sister, right? I'm pretty sure we played that game. No,
no, they don't.
Sorry, that was Chase.
Yeah, I was like, I never played with you.
That was Chase. I did an entire round just.
Well, what's the greatest fighting game of all time?
Tekken.
Mortal Kombat.
He says Mortal Kombat. I agree with him on the Mortal Kombat one.
Yeah.
I think 1 and 2 were amazing. I think 3 is where they fell off the map.
Oh no, man! I love 3. The one button fatalities. I was about it. Yeah.
Oh wait, greatest?
Yeah. You're not gonna say Street Fighter. No one's gonna say Street Fighter 2.
Nobody.
I'm actually gonna say Bushido Blade.
Bushido Blade. Wow.
I've never heard of it.
Like it is. Yeah. It is.
I have
just seriously realistic combat.
Yeah.
It's
like one kill. Like you could kill somebody like with one blast.
If you hit someone in the head, they're dead.
You could, yeah. Like it was like you could. It was a sword fighting game. They came out with 2 of them on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they never came out with more than that. But like if you hit someone the right way, that you kill them right away. Like a real
what
sword
was it
fight.
called again?
Bushido Blade.
Yeah. If you hit someone in the leg, guess what? You can't use that leg. They're
that's right, yeah.
They're like limping around.
Yeah. Well, then what about Samurai Showdown? You cut somebody in half, or you could cut them and blood would spray out of them.
It was really fun, but it was also incredibly unbalanced.
Incredibly unbalanced. Thanks, Neo Geo.
Yeah. It's like, well, do you want to play the guy that's going to win, or do you
I'm going to put a disclaimer on this episode that it's like extremely nerd centric.
Right.
Ooh, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That's
okay. I'll give you that one. I played that a lot.
That's a pretty awesome fight. It's like there's so many options that you're just like, well,
because that was like what, the 3-on-3 fight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a big Marvel nerd, so getting to fight with the Marvel people were pretty amazing.
Oh yeah. Do I remember when the X-Men that fucking arcade game came out?
Children of the Atom.
Yeah, the one where it was like 4-player, and it was like 2 video games put together because the screen was so big. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh man, I remember walking to the arcade and I was like, "What in the fuck is that?" And I was like, "Oh my god." And then, spend like $10 for like the next 2 hours. Next hour, probably.
We didn't have an arcade in Carlsbad. Whenever I was a kid, there was like one little arcade place. It was mostly like kind of Chuck E. Cheese type games. So it was like skee ball and stuff. So it wasn't like the big arcade games. So really the only arcade games I would ever like get a chance to play were either at the movie theater or something that I would have to like play on Super Nintendo or something there. So I rarely got the opportunity to have like the full arcade experience.
Carlsbad didn't have a mall?
No.
Shit.
Yeah, we didn't have a mall.
Clovis is better.
Yeah, Carlsbad didn't have a mall. And like they have a place they call a mall, but it's just like a couple stores. It's not like,
We had, so when I was a kid growing up, we had the Clovis Mall, which had the Gold Mine. The Gold Mine was an arcade. And then, like, about a mile from my house, there was a place called Video Village. And next door to it was a Pizza Hut. So at the Pizza Hut, they had the sit-down red Super Mario Brothers game.
Oh, nice.
You know what I'm talking about? It was like red, and it was a sit down, and they were kind of like a pyramid shape.
Okay.
So it wasn't flat.
Yeah, it was like that.
You look it up, you go Super Mario, like, I don't know, sit down, I don't know. And they were red.
Well, they did that with all like the sit down ones, like Double Dragon. You'd have
Yeah.
like the screens facing as like the pyramid scheme, so in each direction. That's actually the very first arcade machine I learned how to. This is gonna sound sketchy. Use a paper clip to
Steel.
yeah.
Thief.
Well, no, I wasn't taking anything out of the machine. I was just giving
there.
myself a bunch of free credits.
It was called Nintendo Excite Bike and Super Mario Brother.
Excite Bike.
Yeah.
I loved that game. Yeah.
And they're red. I just pulled up a photo of one. And if I had a quarter, I would ride my bike to the Pizza Hut to play Super Mario Brothers. I remember when the Nintendo came out, I would read the Sears catalog because it had a picture of Super Mario Brothers, and it looked just like the game that I would play at the arcade. And I was like, mowing lawns and shit so I could get one. People didn't even know what they were. I had the Nintendo with the Rob the Robot.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I want to know this. What was the very first console that you got?
Atari 2600.
Fuck, me too.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to take that back. I had a Commodore 128/64.
I don't remember that one. I remember what it was, the Commodore 64?
Commodore 128/64.
This
So
is real
it was,
nerdy. I remember whenever I had the Atari, I would always look in the catalog and I would see the ColecoVision.
but I had the 2600 too.
Oh, and there'd be remember the ColecoVision?
Yeah.
And then I remember the Commodore 64. And I don't remember which one had it, but like I always felt like the controller for, I think it was the ColecoVision. I was like, that looks so cool because it had like the joystick, but then it had a lot of buttons.
Oh yeah, it looked crazy. I had like one friend that had that, and I was like, oh, what's it got?
Yeah, like there would be that one kid in town that would have like one, and you're like, yeah, there it is, ColecoVision, and it had like the weird controllers, and I was like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, those things, they looked like phone dials and shit. Yeah.
Wow, someone's selling one online for like $170.
I could probably.
Jesus.
I wonder how much I could sell my. I still have my Atari 2600.
Right. I had an Atari 2600. I remember when Pac-Man came out on the Atari. That was big shit. I remember when Donkey Kong came out. That was big shit.
I still have
And
my ET game.
Then I remember when ET came out.
Did they find like a bunch of them in a landfill?
Yeah, yeah, and there's a documentary about it.
Yeah.
And the guy who runs Gamers Anonymous,
Unplayable,
Up in the Heights, is in the documentary.
Oh wow!
Like he went down there with them. And that game was unplayable. It was ridiculous.
I fell in a hole again.
Yeah.
How do I get out?
I didn't own it. My friend owned it.
Someone shot me.
And
Damn
it was
it!
the worst fucking game ever, dude.
What's my goals? They never even told me. I saw the movie.
And you'd get like the Reese's Pieces and all that shit. So I remember like this. Here's a story from my childhood. So for Christmas, I got for my Nintendo, I got the Raiders of the Lost Ark game, and I put it in, and it wouldn't work. Took it back to KB Toys, get another one, put it in, it wouldn't work. Took it back to the KB Toys, got a third one, put it in, wouldn't work. And it wasn't my Nintendo because I could play other games. So I finally was just like, fuck it, and I got Superman, and like I took that back and it worked. That's like one of those memories in my mind.
So Raiders of the Lost Ark just did not want to work for you.
So I've never played that Nintendo game.
Oh, bummer.
It's all well. That game's a scam.
I just wonder if like they had a bad batch or something. Maybe it went through like the X-ray at the airport or something.
Yeah, just deleted everything.
I don't know. It's weird.
Did you ever play? I'm thinking of ET, but I'm thinking of bad games. Did you ever play Friday the 13th on NES?
Yes.
Oh my God!
And like your weapon would be like a rock. You'd throw a rock at Jason.
That's effective.
It's like
Have you seen the new one that came out where you can play as Jason?
Oh yeah, I haven't
that
played
seems
it, but I've
way
seen it.
funner.
Yeah.
And so it's like a multiplayer game online.
Yeah.
So people can be the counselors and then you're Jason or vice versa.
Oh wait, is Friday the 13th like the original survival horror game?
Pretty much, right?
I found a candle. I don't know what that does. Oh my God, he's here again. Run.
Run, right.
I think that's the gimmick with the new one is that it's like a survive as long as you can, and then it'll switch, and so the next round somebody else is playing him. Yeah,
I haven't played it, but I saw some of the kills, and they're like super uber violent. Like Jason like breaks him over his leg and shit like that.
They need to do that with John Rambo.
Right, you just set up a bunch of traps.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. I just remember like growing up and like all the different crazy controversies that video games had, like that. Like I remember the Sega CD came out, and they had that Night Trap game, and it had the girl from Different Strokes on it, and basically your whole thing it was a CD game, so it was like,
They had more storage.
Yeah, but it was like live action.
Yeah, they could do.
So
yeah.
you couldn't really control people. You basically had to like push a direction or a button at the right time to get the right thing to happen. And basically you were just these like, I don't know, dudes in black ninja outfits were trying to kidnap the women and kill them. And you had to like hit the right thing, and then a trapdoor would drop them, or they'd fall through a trapdoor in the wall or something. Just ridiculous, stupid shit.
Weird.
The Cliffhanger was a really shorty game. I think you mean short game.
Oh, shitty game, probably.
Shitty game.
Yeah.
There we go. That makes more sense. I thank you.
Well, there was a lot of shitty games.
Oh yeah.
Looking at Friday the 13th, it looks like it has pretty mixed reviews on there. Metacritic only gave it a 61. But
The new one or the old one?
the new one that we were talking about with
Okay,
the
I'm
crazy
like-
It
deaths.
looked pretty glitchy.
Yeah.
I'm all 61 from the NES one because that is garbage.
Looked pretty glitchy, so I don't know. Yeah, because it kind of came out and it was like people were excited about it, and then it was just like, bleh.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Cliffhanger game. I don't even know what the fuck that would be about.
Oh, what are you
Let me
guys'
look that up here.
What are you guys' like least favorite games? Like what's
What genre did I hate?
Sure.
I had
no, or like a game in like specifically because
Well, I don't like real-time strategy games too much, except for like Civ. I didn't like that was a big genre. What was it like? What's the StarCraft and all those? I wasn't really into those.
Ooh, Red Alert is a real-time strat, and I loved that game.
Never liked them.
Yeah, it's like a war strategy game. I'd get into that. Fighting games, I like to play with friends, but I didn't really like doing one player on.
Yeah.
It would get too frustrating for me. And I know that some people see it as a challenge, but for me, I'd be like, fuck this game. And fuck Liu Kang and everybody.
Fuck Liu Kang. Fuck Liu Kang.
Yeah. And
Fuck
like
Liu Kang's
their
dad.
their whole family. But it would just
Greasy
it
granny.
would become so frustrating for me that I didn't even enjoy it.
Yeah. I never got into the MMOs, the massively multi-online, whatever. I never understood it.
mine's always been first-person shooters.
Oh, I love them. You hate them?
I can't do it. It has to be third person.
Yeah.
Because guess what? The point of view that they give you isn't really first person. Because
No,
if I'm
not.
looking
Yeah, nah.
if I'm looking straight on, I can see my feet.
Sure.
And
I would not want to see
it'd be like looking. It's like looking through a box.
Yeah. But
And
you're
I'm-
playing virtual game. I mean, that's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
VR.
What did you think of like the Resident Evil games? You get like over the shoulder kind of view.
I loved them.
Yeah,
That's great. That's perfect. That's my like. I love shooters, but I can't do first person.
Resident Evil 4 was probably my introduction to the Resident Evil series
Oh,
because
wow.
I jumped in kind of late, and that was the one where you had to save the president's daughter, right? PlayStation 2.
That's right.
Yeah, man, I really loved that game. It was probably
Leon!
So I'm a really bad gamer. I rarely would beat games.
Oh, wow.
I would just play them, and I remember like that was. It's pretty high up there on one of the first games that I ever like beat like all the way through. Yeah, and that was so much fun.
That's the one that revolutionized. That's the one that started over the shoulder shooting.
Yeah,
Kind of, yeah.
It was the first one. People are like, oh, revolutionized.
I don't know if it was the first one. I mean, you had Metal Gear.
maybe
which
it's just the first one that did like did it right. I guess.
maybe. I don't know. I always thought the Metal Gear games were pretty good about that shit.
Did you ever play Dead
But
Island?
it wasn't over the shoulder though.
Yeah.
It was
True. Oh, that's true.
It was spot on.
Yeah. Where you fight zombies and shit.
Yeah.
But you don't really have guns. You have like pipes. And
Well, you could get guns later on, but you get pipes. You could make your own weapons. I loved being able to play that online because you could find other survivors. You guys go on missions together.
Oh, wow, no,
and then like they could help you like find the stuff that you need because you'd find somebody with like a super badass weapon. And then I would we found out that you could glitch the game and like somehow make duplicate weapons and drop them for your friends. So
That's always so much fun.
But I remember that I had like invested a lot of time in this game and I was like really excited. I got to the final boss and something happened and the boss glitched where I hit the boss like 1 or 2 times and the boss like fell on the ground and never got up again. And
so you couldn't hit him anymore?
No, I just hit them until they died, but they never got up. It wasn't even like a challenge.
Oh, dang.
Like I just beat him like a dead horse. Like it just like until it like the next cutscene and it was like, oh, okay.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wish like the game I always wanted to be able to beat, but there's no way in hell was the Mega Man. Any of the Mega Mans, just ridiculously hard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what. Okay, when I like go home,
Yeah.
and I need to like calm down, I play Mega Man.
Jeez.
That seems like that would stress me
Yeah,
out.
I'd be so pissed, you know.
Sonic also stresses me out.
Oh, really? I always thought those games were pretty simple.
Well, because the thing is with like Mega Man, it's all about just memorization.
Oh yeah.
So you just
timing
like
and memorization.
you just gotta go through a level all just like
I
kill
hated
those
those.
3 things, those things, and
Yeah, I hated
jump and then through
But
more things.
I always loved them, but I always hated them. You know, and then you'd have to figure out like which order to go in because if you went in a certain order, you could beat the bosses pretty easily.
Or you can actually kill them all with your basic weapon. That's what I do.
True, they're very true. So yeah,
But I'm an uber nerd that way.
nerd.
I try to like. I'm always like, this has multiple difficulty levels. Let's start on hard.
Brutal.
Yeah, no gracias.
I will start on hard.
I start on the regular mode and then beat it all the way through and probably never touch it again.
Have you ever played Cuphead?
No, okay. So yes, I did play it at Meow Wolf. They have a cabinet with it in there.
Cuphead?
Yeah,
Dude, that game is fucking hard.
it is ridiculously
Ultra
hard.
hard.
I almost bought it, except for after I played it at Meow Wolf, I hated it. I was like, this is like not awful because it's outstanding.
it is.
but it would frustrate me to no end.
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's actually it is so smooth and
Right.
it looks so good.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, it is an amazing game, but it is hard as hell.
I have it. It's
Yeah.
fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like even on the easiest level, it's like brutal. It's like they're laughing. They're like, ha 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 ha. Let's try. And I'm sure there's people who've beat it, but I'm just like, I just wouldn't want to put in that kind of fucking time.
Right.
No, thank you.
I just beat Luigi's Mansion not that long ago, and you were saying that you were going to be starting it soon. Have you?
I'm about probably halfway through.
And what's your thoughts now? I mean,
I think it's great.
Yeah. Is it felt too repetitive for you? Because
No.
I never got to the point where some people were saying it felt repetitive.
No.
I thought that it mixed it up enough. Like I
like
loved it.
I
Yeah.
like it a lot. And it's crazy because like even Breath of the Wild frustrates me.
Yeah.
Because of the weapons where they break. Mm-hmm. So I bought that game and I bought Mario Deluxe at the same time. I ended up playing Mario Deluxe way more than I played Zelda. Loved it. Mm-hmm. Loved Mario Deluxe.
Which one is Mario Deluxe?
The one with the hats.
Oh, yeah, Odyssey.
Odyssey. Sorry.
Yes. Mhm.
I meant Odyssey. My
Yeah.
bad.
No. Oh, yeah. I loved Odyssey.
Odyssey's
I beat
amazing.
that all the way through. That was a lot of fun. I will say that finding all the secrets in Odyssey are a lot harder than finding all the secrets in Luigi's Mansion.
Wow.
Getting the the extra little hidden pieces and stuff, I think are a little easier to get into in Luigi's Mansion because it's all kind of like puzzle based. Like it's like you just gotta figure out how the puzzle works. And sometimes with Odyssey is like you gotta triple jump off of this and bounce off of that and throw your hat.
Right.
And some of that stuff was crazy, but I loved both of those. I think the Switch has had some outstanding games for it, but
Agreed.
like all of Nintendo's platforms, it seems like if it's not like one of their like Zelda or Mario games, it seems like I don't know. It just doesn't have the appeal for me. But those games are just so good.
Yeah.
What's that one we were playing with Marty? Is Lovers in a Dangerous Time Space?
Something like that, yeah. That's a fun game.
That was like that's like it's all like teamwork based.
Yeah, have you ever played that one?
I haven't. No.
Do you ever see what it is? It's like 2D, and you're all like everyone's in this like spaceship.
Okay.
And you can see it from the side. You can see the guts of it. And like, you play up like 4 people, I think, and like.
Yeah, up to 4 people.
So
yeah.
you're bouncing around in like these caverns and stuff.
One person's in charge of the engines.
Yep.
One person's in charge of, or actually anyone. Like it just depends on what station.
Because you can run around and there's different stations, and one actually drives the ship.
What's the name of that?
I'm pretty sure it's Lovers in a Dangerous Time State.
Something like that, yeah. And then like one person can man the gun, and they have to. Like you have to. Like,
Yeah,
you have to like work together.
You need a pilot who steers it.
Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time.
Space Time. I was so close.
And it's it looks really kiddie, but it's actually fantastic, and it's only really fantastic though if you play with multiple players.
Yeah.
I don't even care about. There's a game called I Love Katamari, and it's so cartoon, and that game's so much fun.
That game is the shit.
Yeah.
Katamari, yeah.
When you just play it like wholesale, and you're like, "What are you doing?" Well, I had 20 minutes to get as big as possible. I just ate 2 gods.
Right.
I took up 2 continents.
Well, and I feel like that's video gaming. Video gaming is like just zoning out
Right.
in the world.
Yeah. And I always like a couch co-op. That's why I think I also liked some of the Nintendo devices, because I can't tell you the last time I played 2-player with my Xbox. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Never. And I don't. I'll play. I used to play Battlefield a lot, and I still never used a headset.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to talk to any of the people. I just wanted to kill them.
Oh, I love talking shit to people. That's my favorite part.
I just lone wolf and would just shoot people, stab them in the head. Keep running.
I love Red Dead Redemption Online, and I'm probably the trolls that make it not fun for other people, because going through the Wild West and stealing people's stuff.
That's great, Ray. Just great.
Thank you. As I'm trying to harvest some herbs from the.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna shoot your horse and leave you in the desert. That's
Well,
Thanks.
I just wanted this rabbit.
See, that's the worst. You just shoot someone's horse and then ride off.
Yeah, that because shooting them, they'll respawn. If you shoot their horse and ride off, they have to go find another
That's
one.
a dick move. That's a real dick move, Ray.
Yeah.
Real dick move.
Yeah, I don't think we're friends anymore. I'm sorry.
Right.
Messed up.
All right. I think we've nerded out long enough.
Yeah.
I'm getting hungry. Yeah. So
That's how the show usually ends.
yeah.
I'm hungry.
I'm tired and I'm hungry. Fuck it. What's your show about? Me talking about food and getting hungry, pretty much. That's what I'm gonna start telling people. Fine. We talk about charcuterie boards, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know if you knew this. We're never allowed to talk about burgers.
Hamburgers, right?
Yeah, I did find that out. That was news last time. Man.
Yeah.
We'll just get into mad arguments.
Mad arguments. So hopefully Holly gets better and she's back next week. So check out her open mic night, Idiot Revolution at Founders Speakeasy. You have to go on their Facebook and they'll announce what the password is. I'm sure if you just go, they'll probably let you in. But yeah, go check it out. Ray, what do you got going on?
Next week, I'm going to be on the Miranda Show talking about professional wrestling and retirement. Also going to be posting stuff to my YouTube channel. You'll be able to see stuff on there. I'm going to be continuing to do art and different things. So you just follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all under Ray Basura, and see what happens now that wrestling's behind me. Smiley, what do you got?
As per usual, you can check me out the second season of Midnight Texas. It's streaming on Vudu and NBC. If you look really closely, you can see me on Daybreak, which is on Netflix, and currently I am on Deputy, which is on Fox.
Oh, man. And then next Sunday, we will have a special show. Holly's gonna do a live stand-up at the Trick Lock Theater, the T-Lab. Doors open at 7. We're gonna record a show that we're gonna record her. Actually, there's who else is on that show with her? It's Sarah Kennedy. Someone's speaking Spanish. I don't know what's going on in the chat. But Sarah Kennedy's gonna be their opener, and then after her stand-up, we're gonna do a special podcast live in a T-Lab with AMC's comic book man Ming Chen. So
Wow.
Yay!
it's $5 to get in. I don't even know what that's for. I guess it goes to the comics. I was probably to pay the comics. But yeah, definitely come out and check that out. It's gonna be pretty sweet. We're gonna live stream the podcast, so it should be cool. So yeah, come out and say hello.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like I said, you guys have definitely been talking up, Ming pretty high. So we'll see.
We'll
how
find out,
everything
I guess,
goes.
huh?
Yeah.
Oh, he's great.
If he's a disappointment, I'm gonna have to fight him.
So yeah. So that's show Ming Chen, and he'll be at Comic-Con. So you go to Comic-Con, say hello to him, tell him that you heard he's going to be on the Tin Drinking Minimum show. I'm sure he'll get a kick out of it. Mm-hmm. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are doing sober January as well, or if not, then have fun drinking. And with that,
We are 10 Drink Minimum.